Good morning. It's 9 o'clock on this Monday. Hopefully you had a great weekend and your work week is off to a good start. I can tell you the weather could not be much nicer here in Hampton Roads. My name is Craig Moeller. I'm a meteorologist here at 13 News Now. I've been in the game for quite a while. I started back in May of 1989. Start doing the math, like, okay, this guy's been doing this for a minute. I can tell you this is one of the greatest things that I've had a chance to do professionally. I absolutely love it. It's a half-hour show that we do every Monday through Friday. It's called The Weather Desk, and you found us right here on 13 News Now Plus. It allows us to take a closer look without any of the restrictions. You don't have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to do a weathercast. We've got plenty of time to break things down, and we've got a lot to break down today. Let's start with our topics. Good news on those wildfires in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. You know, the New Jersey wildfires, that was a big story last week. There were evacuations. There was a lot of damage. We got more and more information on those fires, and firefighters still have their hands full battling it, but they are making some gains. We'll update you on that. And then as I was looking at the smoke forecast last week, I noticed there was this really big plume of smoke coming out of some parts of southern Pennsylvania where there was another wildfire. That one really more remote. It was affecting a lot of forests, not as great a threat to property or towns. At any rate, we've got updates on both of these, and the news is pretty good. So we'll have all of that coming up. That's one of our big topics. We're also going to talk about grassroots relief for those recovering from Hurricane Helene. I'm going to show you what the 2024 hurricane season looked like. I've got a map with the different tracks. We're going to revisit Helene and then talk about what's going on to help offer hope to some folks who desperately need it, still trying to pick up the pieces from Helene. And then we've got some ocean fun facts we're going to pass along. You know, the ocean is such a big player in the weather and what we experience here in the mid-Atlantic region for the southeast along the Gulf Coast. That ocean is a player. So we're going to talk about that, some fun facts, and then new opportunities for students to study marine life here in Hampton Roads. We're going to talk about that. Really some cool stuff. Not only that, but there is a great severe weather threat across the upper Midwest. We're talking about parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So I'm going to be diving into that, addressing the threats and what's going on. I'll also show you the extended outlook over the coming week as we take a look at some of the global models and break that down. So let's start off with the wildfires and what was going on up across New Jersey. Keep in mind, this was the first one we were really watching, and firefighters are still battling a large wildfire there in southern New Jersey. It's the Jones Road wildfire. It's burned more than 15,000 acres, according to the New Jersey Forest Fire Service. The flames are only 65% contained. That was as of yesterday. A windy weekend made things difficult for firefighters, even after light rain fell on Saturday. That helped a little bit, but once those winds kick up, that creates more trouble. So far, one commercial building, multiple vehicles have been destroyed, and a 19-year-old man was arrested and charged with arson after lighting wood pallets on fire and allegedly not putting them out properly. We're expecting another update on the firefighting progress around noon today, and as we get it, we'll have it for you here later on 13 News. Now, good news, again, I mentioned we have this more contained than what we were looking at yesterday, but this other fire in southern Pennsylvania, there is some good news for that forest fire. All residents who were evacuated due to the Cumberland County wildfires can now return to their homes. So I'm happy to report that. The Hammond's Rocks fire is now 92% contained, and the Thompson Hollow fire is a little over 42% contained. Now, traffic has been restricted as crews take down trees and helicopters attack the flames from the air. Cumberland County says work will continue through this morning to stop the spread as quickly as possible. You take a look here. I want to show you the smoke forecast. And remember, last week we had plumes of smoke that were rolling around here. You see a little bit, but there's nothing really significant there. I do want to talk to you about western North Carolina. Their wildfires have become more frequent in the months following Hurricane Helene. According to the local fire official, a recent fire in Swannanoa would have been much larger and threatened more homes if not for assistance from the air. And now the North Carolina Forest Service has asked state lawmakers for funding to increase the aviation firefighting budget. Justin Berger has more from Asheville.
Thousands of acres have burned in North Carolina this year, the result of increased wildfire activity after Helene. Look up and you probably noticed helicopters, a lot of them, dumping water across the mountains. Just this week in Swannanoa, Deputy Fire Chief Larry Pearson says a Chinook contracted from the U.S. Forest Service and a Huey contracted from the North Carolina Forest Service stopped flames from going up further on the mountain.
When you have an operation, you need all the roles. If we had a baseball team, we need a pitcher, we need a catcher. You got to have the whole team. And we have a wildfire in the mountains like this with the debris. Having that air assets out there for eyes and water dropping capability feels like it completes the team.
Pearson says the funding of air assets is essential to the region as crews continue to fight fires over the next several years, made more challenging by Helene.
And we're going to talk more about Helene in just a moment. Yesterday marked a big anniversary, so we'll get to that in a second. I do want to take a moment, though, as we turn our attention from the firefighters and the firefighting efforts along the East Coast and turn our attention to the north central U.S. This is going to be a potentially really tough day for folks in the upper Midwest. And I want to show you the severe weather outlook. Now, a lot of times we'll have a level 1 or level 2 threat. That's where you get the green and the yellow. We call it a marginal risk if it's level 1, a slight risk at level 2. You then have an enhanced risk at level 3, and you can see we reached that 4th level, moderate risk, where there are widespread severe storms expected to develop. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about this. You know, when we have a level 2 threat, a slight risk, that's typically where we see watches go up. All right, so here in Hampton Roads, you get a level 1 threat. Hey, we're watching. We always are watching here at 13 News Now. But if we get that yellow shading, you can pretty much plan on a watch going up at some point. It's usually just a matter of time. You get to that 3rd level, this area where numerous severe storms are expected. Not only do you have a watch, but you expect to be very busy tracking multiple severe storms. So you can see that potential today exists across Oklahoma and down across north central Texas. But we really want to focus on this area here, from around Kansas City northward up through Omaha, southern Iowa, all the way up through Wisconsin. You can see Milwaukee kind of on the edge there. Green Bay, they're in it. The upper peninsula of Michigan, back across the central portions of Minnesota, and then south, Minneapolis, St. Paul, in the heart of this thing, and then back out almost, well, just a little bit into eastern South Dakota. Now, this area with this 4th level, that moderate threat, this is what I'm most concerned with. And again, Minneapolis, St. Paul, we're going to be watching. We have sister stations in this part of the country, and we're going to be working and watching to see what develops there. We'll certainly keep you updated. But when you consider the severe weather potential, this is what we want to talk about. You have multiple different impacts that we can have severe weather warnings. There's the potential for strong winds. We're talking about winds in excess of 60 miles an hour. That's typically where you start to get wind damage. And I'm not even talking about tornadoes here. I'm talking about outflow, just strong, powerful wind gusts. Sometimes these lines of severe storms, they bow out. You get cold air that rushes out with these storms, and that could be a case that we see some of that again with some of the downdrafts, and you could get their very powerful storms. So we're looking for that potential from southern Minnesota across Wisconsin and into the upper peninsula of Michigan. And there's even an elevated risk all the way down for those strong winds down through Texas. Now, as we address the next potential, we're talking about hail, and this is hail in excess of 1 inch in diameter. You have the potential for significant hail. That's the threshold. You could have, you know, pea-size hail. It can be annoying, but you don't really get damage with that. Even dime-size hail, that gets your attention, but it's typically when it gets to the size of a quarter, about 1 inch in diameter, that's where you start to have damage to cars and windows sometimes, different, things left outside, tables, patio furniture, decks, roofs, siding. You start to have problems when you get into that larger hail. And there is that potential There's a significant risk of it, again, Wisconsin into Minnesota, down through Iowa, parts of Missouri, and through the Kansas City metro area, and then back across Oklahoma and Texas. You see these hashed areas all the way up from Wisconsin and Minnesota down through Texas. So a very real threat there. Now, the tornadic threat is greatest from Iowa into Minnesota and back over to Wisconsin. So you keep hearing these three states. This is the area where we're most concerned. Again, greatest threat, Minnesota, southern Minnesota, much of Iowa, and back into western parts of Wisconsin there. As you look down to the south, there's another area with an elevated tornado risk down across western Oklahoma. Not the Panhandle. The Panhandle's okay, but this western part of Oklahoma and then down into north central Texas, there's an elevated threat there. You can see the chances for something to spin up exist across north central Missouri. So basically from right around Columbia, Missouri and Boonville, some of these other communities out here, I think about Sedalia, some of the other areas out in western Missouri, back up through Illinois, even Chicago on the cusp of that kind of next level, that elevated threat for tornadoes. So we're going to be watching this entire region today with this elevated threat. Nothing to take lightly here. This is something we'll be watching carefully. Now, you're going, okay, that's today. What about tomorrow? Well, you see the severe weather threat does shift east. We've got high pressure here over Hampton Roads. So I think we're going to be in really good shape here in Hampton Roads. We've got sunshine today. It's going to be sunny again tomorrow. But that high pressure, as it's anchored offshore, is going to lift some of that energy to the north. And I think the western Great Lakes, you're talking about Lake Ontario and Lake Erie here, and south of that, parts of New York State, Buffalo, back over through Cleveland. This area wants to watch very carefully. Erie, Pennsylvania, watching this all very carefully. And then that level 2 threat, this is that level 3 threat or enhanced threat here. There's that slight risk, which again extends all the way down through Oklahoma and Texas. So they're going to be dealing with potentially strong storms both today and tomorrow down here. This shifts to the east, southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, back across the Ohio River Valley, and then you get that greater risk off to the north around the western Great Lakes. Now you're going, okay, that's tomorrow, Craig. What about the day after? Is it going to shift farther east? Well, it changes up a little bit. So check this out. We'll go ahead and look ahead to Wednesday. And right now, the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, identifies the Dallas area, North Texas, parts of Oklahoma and western Arkansas under a threat of severe storms. We really don't see it here along the East Coast. So things are going to be changing up. Again, very good chances for severe weather here in the north central U.S. today. Tomorrow, pretty good chances from the northeast down through here. And as we get into Wednesday, it looks like the threat pretty much isolated to this part of the area. Now, I do think we will see a chance for storms here. You'll see that with our futurecast coming up. Let's talk about the flood potential. And again, the greatest threat, and it's just a level 1 threat, but a marginal threat through Tuesday morning from the Dakotas, both southern North Dakota and South Dakota, even parts of Wyoming and Montana, back over through Minnesota, Wisconsin and Iowa, and then back down through Texas. That's where the flood potential is for today through tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, as that line shifts more, becomes more elongated northeast to southwest, now you've got this front with winds kind of blowing along parallel to the front aloft. So now you've got this lift and you've got the rain without those storms really moving along quickly. Instead, they're going to be moving in this general direction. And this is where you get training and you get this moderate threat, this level 3 threat for flood potential. So I think we're going to see numerous flood watches out and flood warnings. This will be Tuesday morning through Wednesday morning, back across southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, back through Oklahoma and into North Texas. That'll be the big concern there. There's a level 1 threat for the Ohio River Valley, and we'll watch it. You think about it, these river valleys, when rain falls, heavy rain falls here, they all feed in to eventually the Mississippi Valley, and then you have to be more concerned down across the deep south. It's all kind of interconnected here, so I just wanted to let you know about that. Beyond that, as we go past Wednesday into Thursday, from Wednesday morning into Thursday, again, that elevated threat for flooding back in the south central U.S. So again, lots to talk about here over the next few days. Things looking okay here in the mid-Atlantic, up and down the East Coast. Things looking pretty good out west. But this is where the action is going to be, and this is what we're going to be most concerned with. We will work to keep you updated, and that's why we continue to invite you to keep checking out the weather desk each and every day. We don't just focus on one part of the country, but we like to let you know whatever's going on that's going to have the most impact weather-wise, we dive into it. So that's a look at our flood potential. Going into Thursday morning through Friday morning, it does shift eastward a little bit. Things start to break free, and you can see, again, just a level 1 threat. Hopefully they'll get some break. Now, it's interesting to note that flooding threat occurs over an area that really doesn't need the rain. These areas here in the central part of the country where you see this slate gray, that's the base map. We're okay. If we got some of that heavier rain back across West Texas or across the Southwest, that would bring some drought relief. We could also use some more rain along the Southeast coast. Not really seeing any there. It's going to fall over areas that have already seen it. Now, they could use some rain up across parts of the Dakotas and into that eastern portion of Wyoming. So there is some potential for some soaking rains in those areas. That would be welcome to a degree. You don't want the severe storms, but you do take the rain. Anyway, they'll see that. But these other areas that face the potential for flooding, they don't really need it. I just wanted to share that with you. All right, as we take a look ahead, let's get into the radar and talk about the future cast, what's going on. Heavy rain right now across parts of Minnesota. You see the rain extending back into Wyoming, some snow over the higher elevations. As we take things forward, there's our area of low pressure spinning right here. You can see the winds twisting in there, and you can see the potential for the storms back across Minnesota into Wisconsin. That'll be later today. Into tomorrow, it shifts eastward. A lot of that energy up into Canada. Front drags back down. This is where we have the potential for the flooding and even some severe weather right along this area into the southern parts of Missouri, back across Oklahoma, Texas. You can see as we get into Wednesday morning, still some wet weather and a focus for more heavy rain back in this part of the country. They don't need it. Still, they face that opportunity through Thursday. You'll notice here we have a chance for wet weather late Wednesday night and now Thursday afternoon. There could still be a few spotty showers in the mid-Atlantic. I think we catch a little break into early Friday, but late Friday we get another front coming through. Better chances for showers and storms. Things will then clear out as we get into the weekend, and you see this next big area spiraling out. That's our area of high pressure. That's going to provide the sunshine that we enjoy into early next week along the East Coast. More wet weather kind of scattered back across parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and down through Texas. That's into early Sunday morning. So just wanted to give you that look ahead. And again, this is looking at the European model, one of the global models we lean into quite a bit. You can see the south flow bringing some moisture up from the Gulf and more chances for showers from Texas and Louisiana all the way up through Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, back into Nebraska and Minnesota. That's the week ahead. All right, let's talk some more about the tropics. Now, I mentioned yesterday marked 7 months since Hurricane Helene claimed more than 100 lives, and the ruins are still visible in western North Carolina as communities rebuild. A group from Greensboro is still on the ground fighting to bring hope. Joseph Leonard has a story.
For 7 straight months, a team of Greensboro first responders has been a lifeline to communities left devastated. They've delivered a countless number of supplies and food, and they're not slowing down anytime soon.
They're just amazing people, and they are a true godsend.
This mission started small, just a few friends determined to help. Tim Gibbs, a former Greensboro firefighter, joined the cause in November and found a new calling.
When you retire, you're still trying to figure out where you belong. You know, what is our purpose? What are we meant to do with our life? Opportunities like this plug us back in.
Gibbs and his team are a constant presence. Recently, they delivered 10,000 pounds of food and 16,000 pounds of grass seed, supplies that mean everything to people like Amanda McCurry, who transformed her work offices into a distribution center.
I don't really know how to put into words how impactful it's been. These are needs, and when you're meeting the needs of your community and helping them get through this very difficult time, you know, there's no measurement
But their mission wouldn't survive without people back home. Donations and faith communities like Moriah United Methodist Church keep them moving forward.
That's what God is asking us to do, to go out and help others, whether it be with food, whether it be with supplies, as long as I've got a small part that I can play in that.
Those small parts add up to life-changing differences, especially for families who still have no homes and no clear road ahead. But for Gibbs, seeing the resilience in these communities keeps him going.
There's something about these people. They're strong, they're resilient, passionate, and they're very loyal to each other. Like they are invested in helping each other. They'll give up something to help somebody else.
Gibbs says their biggest trip yet is set for June. He's calling for more volunteers, more trucks, and more help.
All right, and as we look back on 2024 and the season, again, you saw this big break in July. We kept waiting. We're like, where is the activity? The ocean water, the sea surface temperatures were record warm in the main development region. We were thinking, all right, maybe we're going to get a lot of activity going on, and we didn't. We had a break. And then, of course, things started to pick up with Debbie and Ernesto. We had Francine Gordon, and then Helene, which we mentioned, that's a 7-month anniversary. But after Helene, there was Isaac, Joyce, Kirk, Leslie, Milton. They just came, boom, 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 boom. Nadine, Oscar, Patty, Raphael, and Sarah, as we wound down November. Take a look at the map and you can see all of the different tracks that those storms took. Again, there were some big ones in Helene, a tough hit there with all of the flooding and all of the trouble across parts of Georgia, and then especially up into the mountains of western North Carolina. Of course, there was Milton too, which just did a number on Florida. Happy to have 2024 well in the rear view, and we are now looking forward to 2025. We'll be getting some updated forecasts for the coming hurricane season and sharing those with you in the coming days and the next couple of weeks as well. So plenty to talk about. We'll be into May very shortly, and then the official start of the season on June 1. Let's take a look at the ocean right now. It has been so beautiful out there, and with the recent beautiful weather, a lot of people are starting to head out to the beach and getting back to the ocean. Now, besides being a fun way, I think the best way to cool off right there at the ocean front and at the beach, the ocean plays a huge role in our day-to-day weather, in our climate, and in our ecosystem, and holds a lot of secrets beneath its surface. Meteorologist Hunter Forrest joins us now with some fun facts of the 7 seas.
It's getting closer to summer, and we're all about to head to the beach and take a dip in the ocean. So let's hear some cool, fun facts about it. The average ocean depth is about 12,000 feet, but that doesn't even come close to the deepest point in the ocean. The Mariana Trench is 3 times deeper than that. Being 72 miles off the coast of Guam, sits the deepest point of the ocean at a staggering 36,089 feet deep. The ocean takes up over 70% of the Earth's surface, yet we don't know much about it, and only 5% of the world's oceans have been explored. But what we do know, there are some pretty interesting facts about what helped sustain life here on Earth. Another thing you may notice if you hop into the ocean is the salty water. If you were to take all of the salt out of the ocean and lay it flat out, it would cover Earth's entire surface and be 500 feet thick, or as tall as a 40-foot building. 1 cubic foot of ocean water contains over 2 pounds of salt. Last but not least, the largest ocean is the Pacific Ocean, which takes up about 30% of Earth's surface, spanning around 63 million square miles, compared to the Atlantic Ocean, which has an area of about 41 million square miles. For 13 News Now, I'm meteorologist Hunter Forrest.
All right, Hunter, that was really interesting. And I think as much as everything we just learned there about the ocean, we also learned if you're ever in a trivia contest, you need to call Hunter. Have him join you on your team. He'll have you covered. All right, right now down at the ocean front, it is a beautiful start to the day. We've got the sunshine out there. Things are looking really good as we check out the airport. 65 degrees, winds are east-northeast. We're going to take a quick look at the boating forecast here, and you can see, again, things are looking good on the Chesapeake Bay. The waves 1 to 2 feet. For the Atlantic Ocean, the seas are only about 2 feet. You just saw that beautiful sky view, and everything looking really good right now. Water temperature is 58, and that's in the ocean waters just east of Virginia Beach. Up on the Chesapeake Bay, 62. Now, all of this is carefully studied, and the facility where William and Mary marine biology students and faculty experiment and research on our local waters and some of the marine life, well, they just got a major facelift. Chesapeake Bay Hall just opened at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science at Gloucester Point. Marta Berglund tells us how the space will improve education.
But I always dreamed of the ocean, and I love the mystery and importance of it.
Texas native Savannah Mapes says studying marine and coastal science at the Virginia Institute of Marine Science through the College of William and Mary has been life-changing.
I've had opportunities beyond my dreams. I love being in the lab. I love communicating my research, and I've had so many opportunities here.
Mapes is spending her 6th and final year of PhD candidacy in the brand new Chesapeake Bay Hall alongside her colleagues and professors. The 3-story, 68,000 square foot building is hard to miss with a map of the Chesapeake Bay stamped on the front.
This building is an incredible upgrade. This building provides a workspace that facilitates more efficient research for us students.
After 25 years at VIMS, marine science professor Debbie Steinberg says based on experience in the previous learning space, staff designed the new facility with intention.
And there are always things that we knew that would just make it a lot easier to work.
Steinberg and Mapes point to the facility's improved technology, which they say makes research more efficient, allowing them to better serve local fishermen, the community, and beyond.
We're working all over the world, in both Chesapeake Bay, in the Antarctic, in the North Pacific, North Atlantic.
In one drop of water from the Chesapeake Bay, we may see 100 animals and 1,000 plants. We're able to get images of all of these plants and animals.
In Gloucester County, Marta Berglund, 13 News Now.
The William and Mary Batten School and VIMS is currently only for master's and PhD students, but that will change in the fall. Undergraduate students will be able to study coastal and marine science at Gloucester Point campus. So excited about that. All right, I want to get into talking about the weather here locally in Hampton Roads, and we're going to start off with the fact that there is a ton of sunshine. That sunscreen, so important. UV index today, it's at 8. That's very high. I know it's on the low end of that, but it's still only got to take about 20 to 25 minutes before a sunburn can begin. Grass pollen is medium, tree pollen high today. You may be irritated with some of that tree pollen. It's not as bad as it has been, but you factor in the grass pollen on top of the tree pollen, you may be feeling it in the mask a little bit. Skies are clear right now, and our rain chances slim to none for the next 48 hours, really the next 72 hours. As we get into late Wednesday and Thursday, that's when we'll start watching for things. So I think today and tonight into early Wednesday, I guess 48 to say 60 hours, by late Wednesday into Thursdays when we start to see those chances going up. And I do expect a few isolated showers, maybe a couple of storms Wednesday night. Not as great a chance on Thursday, but still maybe a shower or two. Friday night into early Saturday, better chances, and then Sunday we will be drying back out. Temperatures over the next 10 days. After a cool day today, low 70s, we're back in the mid 80s and even mid to upper 80s occasionally over the next 4 days. Another front comes through. That cools us down over the weekend and into early next week. Looking out over the next 8 to 14 days, that's May 6th through the 12th. Wetter than normal for the Southwest. Remember, they could use some rain down here in this part of the country. They're very dry. For us here in the mid-Atlantic, it looks like pretty average precip chances, not really super wet or super dry as it looks right now. It should be drier than normal around the Great Lakes region. Temperatures are going to be above normal for the northern tier of the U.S. and here in the mid-Atlantic. So after today's cool weather, we get a warm run, a little cooler over the weekend, although temperatures still expected to be at or maybe slightly above average. And then as we go that following week, into May there, the first to second week of May, it looks like it'll be a little above average. Right now, normal is 74. Yesterday, 73. We're 1.2 2 inches below average for the year. Our temperatures at 9:30 in the mid-60s, low to mid-60s for some. We started off cool, but as we go towards noon, we'll be in the low 70s and then low to mid-70s this afternoon. A lot of sunshine across the region. Heading into Tuesday, another sunny day. We start off 40s and 50s. We'll hit highs in the lower 80s. It's going to be a warmer day tomorrow. And then with the wind shifting to the southwest, we really warm it up on Wednesday. Note those temperatures mid to upper 80s. And keep an eye to the radar. This is at 3 o'clock. We're still dry here, but watch what happens as we go towards 5:30, 6 o'clock. We start to see some stuff out around Richmond. By 6:30, it's pushing past I-95, starting to work down the peninsula. In the middle peninsula, could see something popping in North Carolina. By Wednesday evening, better chances for showers and maybe a couple of stronger storms down to the south. We are not outlooked for severe weather at this time, but we will keep an eye to things and let you know if anything changes. Highs today, low 70s around Norfolk, 70 in Virginia Beach, a little bit warmer inland like Suffolk and out towards Franklin. We're going to see low to mid 70s, Newport News to Williamsburg, upper 60s to low 70s, Matthews to Gloucester, and upper 60s to near 70 on the eastern shore. We'll also see upper 60s around the Outer Banks, mid 70s, Edenton and Hertford, 73 around Elizabeth City. Lows tonight near 52, clear skies tomorrow back up to 81. Another sunny day tomorrow. Enjoy it. After that, we're going to find the temperatures warming up Wednesday. That chance for showers late Wednesday into Thursday. Just a low risk of a shower. I do expect a little bit more activity popping up late Friday and into early Saturday. After those morning showers taper off, it's nicer for the rest of the weekend and into early next week. Let me remind you, you can always stay connected to our forecast when you download the 13 News Now mobile app. Scan that QR code and you will have all the information you need on the weather and access to our live radar. It's a great way to stay connected, not only to our weather products here at 13 News Now, but also important news updates. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Weather Desk. Hopefully you've enjoyed this time. And again, you picked up some different information. A lot going on across the country. We'll keep an eye to those storms that develop later today, and we'll let you know tomorrow on the Weather Desk how things are going. We'll also continue to refine that forecast for the mid-Atlantic region as we head later in the week and our chances for showers and storms go up. Let your friends know about us. We're always here on the 13 News Now Plus. You'll find us starting every morning at 9 o'clock with today's top weather headlines. Have a great day.